You are not late. You are right on time. Welcome. Thanks for being here and thanks for acknowledging what safety really looks like versus all the lies we tell ourselves and all the things we do to try to stay safe that never really kept us that way or only kept us that way for a very short period of time. You are here. You are in the now and you are fully ready to be the best you that you can be in this amazing day called today. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I'm a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 39 books and counting. I've had the amazing privilege of working with over 5,000 people, helping them in the process of writing, publishing, marketing their books to bestseller, and everything that goes beyond that. But in 40 years of marketing, what my real specialty really is, because of the heart that I have in me, is being able to help you see how incredible you are. It's being that catalyst, really. I've been using the word architect, but I do kind of like the word catalyst better because it's more the catalyst for you to have your clarity. I mean, I like the word architect because I can see it. I have the vision for it. And I know you've got this. And I want to show you. This is a drawing, if you will. That's what architects do, of exactly how cool and amazing this house, this place, this thing that is you is. And I really want you to see that. And so I do love the phrase visibility architect, but for clarity, I really am just here to help you find your clarity, to lead you, to guide you, to show you the things that are what clarity really is versus all of the lies that we tell ourselves where we think we're safe, even though we don't feel it at all. Isn't that interesting? We tell ourselves how safe we are, and yet in truth, we feel as unsafe as we possibly could. And that's just sad. It really is. Today, I want to really look at that. Now, I'm going to, now that I've invited a couple of people from my team to come join us, if they're available. I know that, like Judy, I didn't put in that list because I know she's getting to spend some time with her son, which is always good. But I just want to now, just you and I, sit back here in my chair. I'm wearing a t-shirt. Saturday. I did turn off the fan. Sometimes I think it creates ambiance, and sometimes I think it just creates noise. But I want you to, whether you are on the beach or not, feel the ocean breeze, smell the salt sea air, wiggle your toes in the sand. Maybe it's all virtual. Maybe it's all a mindset that you're going to have, but that's the place I'd like to invite you to come join me today. Just sitting here, sipping pina coladas. If you're like me and you don't really like rum, leave it out and just have a really delicious coconut and pineapple flavored drink. It's funny too. I love the fact that I love pina coladas because I actually hate the taste, or maybe it's the texture of coconut. And that's not totally true. I love the taste of it. I just can't stand actual real coconut in anything. And there's something about the texture of it or whatever that just totally throws me off. And yet, pop popcorn and coconut oil, give me a pina colada, those kind of things. I'm not a huge fan of just pure cooking in coconut oil. I'd rather use olive oil flavor wise, when you can really taste the flavor of the oil. What does this have to do with anything? I went on this deep dive into pina coladas because of the whole thought of coconut and traumas from my own childhood of my brother, tricking me into eating things with coconut in it so that he could laugh when I was frustrated that there was coconut in them. That's a whole nother just long horrible road of things. See, we've all got that, don't we? We've got those things that should be safe places that weren't. I know many of us had things that were really good in our life growing up, and I don't. Sometimes I feel like maybe I overly diss some of the things that happened in my life. There were also some things that were definitely challenges, possibly even diminishing. And there became, as my other two brothers, because, I'm 5.5 and 7 years younger than my two older brothers, as they moved out and things, there were some chaoses in my house that have most definitely had an impact on me. And I too had to grow to that place of what real safety means and why, even with all of the things, all the failures, all the stuff rattling around in my head, I know you've got them too, that try to give us what we all too often refer to as reality. This is your reality check. Okay. But is it really reality, or is it somebody's opinion? I love the word normal. I had a friend of mine the other day say, I wish I could just be normal. And I just asked him, I said, what is normal? What does that look like? Tell me, who is this normal person, and where do they gather in this group of all normal people? And who told them that that was normal? Who told them that? They told themselves that. Now, some of them, that message actually started from their parents or grandparents. This is the way. This is the thing. These are how good people, how normal people, how contributing members of society. And we all too often steal from our children the safety that they were born into, or should have been. Sometimes they were never born into that. But what should have been that totally safe bubble, and I'm talking about their parents as their parents, or friends and family members, or even just society in general, we slowly chip away at that small child. You see, here's the thing, and I went really political yesterday without intending to. Little babies, when they're born, they really basically only have, what is it? And I know the statistic, I'm trying to remember it. They really basically only have the fear of bright lights and of falling. I know for sure it's falling, and I believe bright lights is the other one. Maybe it's loud noises. It's one of those two. And those are the only inherent, came out of the womb opinions, if you will, psychological premises that babies are born with. Fear of falling, and like I said, I think it's actually loud noises. I don't think it's bright lights. Because that would make coming out of the womb, just the worst. And it is in many ways. They're in this truly safe environment. When they want to stretch, just stretch, in whatever direction whatever that does to mommy, that's just okay. Because all mommy is there to do is just to be their feeding tube and the heartbeat that they listen to. See, even when those of you that might be listening, your mom was less than. In the womb, that wasn't at all how you perceived her. She was the literal beating heart of your whole universe. That calm, comforting thing that sat there right next to you and sent those warm vibrations. Now, if your mom, deeply loved and cared and nourished for you and was talking to you while she rubbed your belly and was speaking words of life and light over you, all the better. And some of those had definite impacts. They've done lots of research studies about, how much babies can tell in the womb. And yes, absolutely. The traumas that a mommy can go through while carrying the baby do have an impact on that baby. But it's more an unsettling. It's not really a psychology or that kind of a development. Now, when all the different neurological and chemical things that happen in the womb uh, happen in various different ways, those do have actual physical and mental structuring impacts on the baby. If a mother was to do drugs, just as a really easy example, those chemical imbalances could have an impact on the baby. There was when the mother has an RH factor, that's the whether your blood is positive or negative, has one that is opposite of the baby. There can be almost like a white blood cell attacking a virus kind of a effect sometimes that happens inside of the mother, and that's not necessarily good, and it can cause birth defects. And there are a whole lot of other things. We know some of the causes for, some of, sort of, the causes for autism and, you know, uh, Down syndrome and other things like that. And for everyone we know, or I should probably really say we think we know, there's 1,000 other things that are possibilities as well. It's why those just can't be completely eliminated. And then let's just face it, anybody that's ever had a child, made a human being with another human being, the combination of the way our DNAs mix together is really interesting. It's really strange. It isn't just like, you're exactly half of your mommy and half of your daddy. You could be 99.9% your dad and 0.1%. I mean, she's definitely in there. And it's probably more than that. Some of that we know and some of that we don't, but it combines together and it makes this really cool new thing that's never existed before in the world. And I took a long way around the mountain to get to the place of telling you from that initial creation stage in mommy's womb, you were knit together in a way that has never happened before and never will again. More unique than the concept that no two snowflakes are alike. Saw a cartoon many years ago where there were two scientists out there, and one was like, "Look, I found two that are exactly alike," But literally, out of the 8 billion people on the planet ish that are on the planet right now, and according to what I read, and I don't count me on this if this number is wrong, but the approximately 8 billion people that have ever been, going back all the way throughout all of human history. Out of all 16 billion of those people, assuming that number's right, and the statistic I read was, there's never been another you. You can tell that because, you have identical twins, and some identical twins are so identical. You need one of them to have like glasses so that you can tell the difference between the two of them. You need one of them to have something, a scar or something. And I'm not really wishing that on any of those things on a child. But I'm saying, there are some identical twins that, other than the things like that, there's no way of telling them apart. They sound just like they look alike. The truth of the matter is, as they get older, the more you know them, and most moms get to the place where it's pretty hard to fool them because they know that child in and out. And whereas one of them is a big geek and into technology, the other one's a total athlete. And sure, often, twins will switch and pull the wool over other people's eyes. But that doesn't make them ununique, because they are, and they grow in different ways. And they can be very, very closely similar, but they're not the same either. You're the only you that's ever existed. This safety bubble that we're sitting in here right now, even this morning, is that place to invite you into someplace that you always are. You just didn't see it because everything from the outside world has assailed you since the moment you came out of the womb in that safe space where there was just mommy's heartbeat and even the cruelty of the world around mommy. You were safe. And ever since that moment of your birth, when you are now out into the wide world, the world has been assailing you and tearing and ripping away at you. And so I get why you haven't felt safe. I absolutely see that and get it. But I also see something else. And I'd invite you to look at it this way as well. Every single one of those things has a way that it's now being used to help you be the best you that you can be today. They were awful, and I don't want to diminish them at all. All the things that have assailed your little tiny baby eyes that no grown adult should be looking at, but these days with the internet, even little tiny babies are seeing stuff that's just assaulting on so many levels. And you lived to whatever age you are in the exact number of total days. So if you weren't talking about I'm fit, like in my case, 58 years old, but you are, and don't ask me how many days that is, okay? I'm not going to stop the whole thing and bring up a spreadsheet and figure it out. I could totally do that. I'm that kind of a geek, but I'm not going to do that. I'm sure that in ChatGPT, I could probably tell it my birth date is January 1st, 1967. How many days old does that make me? And it could probably tell me in 10 seconds. All of those days come together to the you that you are now. And all of those experiences, as awful as they were, have an amazing potential to be used now. Whether you look at extremes, Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery because one brother talked them into not killing him. Slavery is better than death, maybe, but it wasn't a good life. And I can't imagine that was the plan for his life. And he went through a lot of things and being in prison in a whole lot of years before he rose. And all of those things helped him develop a different him than he would have been. When his brothers come to meet him, and this isn't intended to be a Bible teaching, but it's a great example. Just, dismiss all the Bible stuff from it and just think of this historically, okay? If that offends you, all right? If you're a Christian, just dive in here with me. God worked inside of Joseph's life to take all of those horrible assaults, sold into slavery, betrayed by his owner's wife and sent to prison, betrayed by the person who he helped raise back up to his position working for the king, and forgotten for another vast number of years. I want to say it was 7. Don't quote me on that. But all of those things came together, and it gave him the ability that when these same brothers that had sold him as a slavery, that most of them actually, in fact, probably 9 out of the 10, if I'm remembering the story correctly, actually wanted to kill him. And the one brother stepped in and convinced them all to sell him into slavery rather than killing him. There was a good reason for him to have a lot of animosity, but instead, he was able to approach them with love and have the wisdom to save his whole family in a very weird and unexpected way. And though he did do some very tricky and underhanded kind of things in the first meeting with his brothers, he did it from a wisdom standpoint of wanting to see, have they grown too? Or did they just get older? We do that sometimes, you know. You're not one of those, though. So we made this whole entire week, this whole fun journey that we've made. Last week, we took off all of our armor and we stepped into the world and we did it afraid. And this week, I've been trying to create for you, and really it's more a matter of helping you see that incredibly cool bubble of what safety really is and of what community really can be. Yes, that is absolutely what we've created in Visibility Amplifier. Absolutely, totally what we intend and what we want for you. But also, I just want you to see that you really are actually safe. That you have the opportunity, as I brought up yesterday, to maximize this incredible thing we call today. All the times you paused, all the time you spent processing, all the polishing and the search for perfection, all of that's all whatever it is. But you're you. You have all of your goods and all of your bads. You see, true humility is not demeaning and diminishing yourself. True humility is having a right perspective of yourself. That capability to be able to say, I'm really good at this. Not in a bragging way, but just in a matter of fact sort of way. As well as acknowledging that's not something I'm real good at. The truly humble person just knows their strengths and knows their weaknesses and is fine with expressing both of them. It means nothing to them as far as, I feel less than myself if I acknowledge that I'm not good at something. Nor do they feel like, in order to make others feel better about themselves, I've fallen into this trap a lot. They make themselves smaller. They don't acknowledge who they are and what they've done because they want to be, under the authority of the people that they've picked as coaches or mentors. Your coach and mentor may have some very great things to teach you. But I want you to also be aware of there may be some things that you have that you could teach them. And you need to be the top, best version of you. You need to be the head, not the tail, as the saying goes. In that community. And if you're too much for that community, then that's not the community you need to be in. Or, and this is part of what we're doing in Visibility Amplifier community, it's just the free tip of the iceberg of all the things we're doing with the Zaraz International. Being the light that draws all nations unto you. Being the transformative power of change in the world. Now, that's Zaraz. And Visibility Amplifier is just a free little tiny taste of all the things we're going to do. And we're creating a system on purpose to invite you to bring the very, very best of you and make all of the rest of us better. If I show up at my best and you show up at your best, both of us are better because the other person. Some of the things that I do, you may do exactly the same things, but you do it in your way, not in mine. Even if you were trying to be an identical clone of me, and please don't do that, it's not worth it, you would end up showing up differently. And the more you do it, the more unique yours, even if you totally started from exactly what I was doing. And I know because there's hundreds of people who have taken some on purpose and some just thieves, what I do, and they now do it. And they all have their own little unique, different kind of sort of spin on it. You've done everything you need to do to keep yourself safe until now. It's all part of what's gotten you to this wonderful thing known as today. And today, what I invite you to do is come on in, the water's fine. Visibilityamplifier.com. Come join us in the Visibility Amplifier group, and then let us know. Are you struggling to connect with people? Are you connecting, but you're not doing it consistently? Or do you really need to clearly understand how is all this mess that is our past? How can I put that out into the world in a way that really truly represents me? Not a duplication of somebody else's thing that I saw that was cool, but is it really who I am? Not a skill that I'm really great at because of who I really am. Like, for example, I've said many times, the reason why I was a great sales manager, twofold. Well, I mean, it's onefold and showed up in two different ways. It's because I care about people, because I have that insight into what is next for them. Not the potential, not the, oh, they have such potential, but they're doing this thing and they could do even this more. That caring, though, caring with clarity, that's what's done it all the way through. I could help a person see how they could tweak their sales presentation and sell better. It made me a good sales trainer. And I love people. And I was looking for what is the win for every single person I was in. Their house, they were in front of me in my location, whatever. Because I wanted to know what we could do to make life the best for them. Because ultimately, my superpower is caring and clarity. And that's what I'm here to give you today. And I want you to know your real, true superpower so that you can then see, yeah, that is how that shows up. And you can hear your voice speaking it and your ears can hear it and be like, I get that now. I hear the way I said that. And I like how that resonates in my gut. I'm so honored to be here with you, knowing you, being in your world. I know I showed up exactly when you needed me. It doesn't matter whether you're here live or it's 1,000 years from now. I know, I said it. That's right. This video is going to last 1,000 years. There you go. I know it's exactly what you need. We had trouble connecting there for a second, and we're back. I'm so proud of you. So honored to know you. And I'm here to help you any way that I can. If there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. Feel free to drop a comment, say the word clarity in the comments, or direct message me the word clarity. Let's get together and talk about what I can do for you. And do come join us in the Visibility Amplifier community. If this really resonated for you, that is the place you need to go next, because we are holding place for you to not only be safe, but stay safe. And to know that you've got warriors on your side when you don't feel safe. And we're all going to bring our coolness together and grow together. Okay? I'm so excited to know you. I really, truly hope that you're happy, you're safe, you're warm and loved. And that if you don't have any of those, that you will allow us to help you reach happiness and true safety, that you can feel the warmth of real, true, genuine love pouring into your soul. I am getting ready to now outline what our whole next week will be. Tomorrow is Sunday, and we're going to probably go deep like we tend to do on Sundays. And I hope you'll join us. We're going to spark something really cool again tomorrow. And I hope you'll be there with us. And until we're together again next time, I hope you have a great week.